Hey, what's up? This is Grandmaster Cash from the legendary Cold Crush Brothers. And you know what? All I see is blinking lights. Peace. All I see is blinking lights. Blinking, 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 blinking. All I see is blinking lights. It's a hip-hop song.
Hello and welcome to episode 17 of the All I See is Blinking Lights podcast. This episode will be in English. I'm a guest in Berlin here talking to the great J.Lamotta Suzume.
Hello.
Is this pronounced correctly?
That's right.
Yeah, great. J.Lamotta is a trained jazz musician from Tel Aviv, currently living in Berlin. She's a producer, she's making beats, she sings and plays all kinds of instruments. Hey, J.Lamotta, how are you doing?
Hey, Daniel, how are you?
Fine. As a starting question, just back in November, you've been on tour in Italy together with the Mumblers. Mm-hmm. And in a short recap on Instagram, you wrote, "I'm thankful for the love, the kindness and the crazy food." What was your favorite food on tour in Italy?
Wow. I have to say the Italian food is just like so... people are so into it, you know, like in Italy, people are so proud of their food, the culture and the food. And I just got into it very much. I really like the meal called Parmigiana. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it's called Parmigiana. It's just layers of like eggplant and cheese and tomato and zucchini and tomato sauce and more cheese and more. that was it.
Sounds pretty good.
Yeah. That was one of my favorites.
This is great. Okay, for people who might not know you, I would like to get to know you a bit and ask first a bit questions about you, and then we can later come to your album that's coming out pretty soon. Like I mentioned in the intro, you studied jazz, you sing, you play instruments and so on. But do you remember your first musical influences or inspirations?
Now I have a very, very clear memory when I'm thinking of the first time I started singing something that was in English was I think when I was like 10, and there was Bob Marley.
Okay.
And I really liked the song Redemption song. Oh, yeah. And I just took the lyrics and I tried to pronounce them and to translate it, to understand. And ever since then, I started learning how to speak and sing in English by just translating Bob Marley songs. So this is like very, very early inspiration. Now when I think about it, very first memory I have of like artists that I...
How did you do the translation?
I was just
you were 10 years old?
I don't know. I think I remember like actually translating from... There was like a website. It went very slow, but I did it step by step or with a little bit with a dictionary. Yeah.
That was pretty good.
That was
and did you, like I mentioned, you grew up in Tel Aviv, and I think you also have Moroccan roots.
That's true.
Did this also have musical influences on you, or maybe how you do music today?
I don't know. I guess so. It's hard to tell because I assume because I always have this part of me, part of my identity, being Moroccan, or the culture, or the food, or the way, you know, me and my cousin was always laughing about our grandparents, which they have the heaviest accent, and we were just trying. So I guess I grew up with this atmosphere. Music wasn't a big thing at my family's place, so it was more of my discovery. If it has an influence of my music, absolutely, because I am looking for it, and I'm like searching for those roots, searching for those. Yeah, I guess so.
Okay. And later, you studied jazz. And I personally only know jazz as a listener, or maybe from books, movies, documentations, whatever. But in how I recognize jazz, or in my imagination, it's a very free music guided by emotions and feelings. But I read that the studies had too many rules for you. what were those rules that bothered you? That
I'm really happy you asked this question because, yeah, I'm happy to share those thoughts that I'm having about institutions and studying music and studying art. I guess whoever study art in institute have those questions of like, this is something, I don't know, it's about feelings, it's about expression, it's about freedom. It's not about a certain way of doing things which you have to go to school and learn them. However, I was very lucky to have this experience of studying in the Jazz Institute, in the conservatory, because I got to know many people, I got to meet amazing musicians, to meet amazing teachers. But I want to say to the people who are never have been through this experience or don't have the budget to go study in high, like in college, or that is not the most important thing, like, because music is about feelings.
Yeah.
Music, and the same thing about jazz, When I was in school, I had this feeling that my teacher or the institute, not necessarily teachers, but the institute, tells you all the time, this is jazz. And if you want to be a jazz musician, you have to go from here directly to New York and go play in this club and this club. Like there is a certain expectation from there was back then, certain expectation from us as a musician studying in that jazz institute. And I felt that pressure, on me. And I was like, I'm a jazz musician, but I don't look at this in this way. I still call myself a jazz musician, although I'm not singing those standard or like, if you look at Billie Holiday, for example, she never studied. Like she was singing her song, like she was singing those songs from her perspective. Most of the times it wasn't even her songs, but she expressed them in such a personal way that no school could ever teach you.
Yeah.
So how can school come and tell you this is a way of doing music, or this is a way only through this way? I took a lot from studying in that jazz institute, but I always felt like there is more than that. Music is not only about that nonsense. Yeah.
Okay. So it's how I understand it. The school is more teaching you the techniques of how to do it and not how to express your feelings, maybe?
I don't know. It's quite hard to tell, but it's a feeling you get when you go to a music school or to art school. You ask yourself, what is art about? That was maybe my own personal development, was like, what is it about? Why do I have to study all those hours of studying, year training, or which is amazing. I did it, and I did it it was great thing to do, but at the same time, listening to music, it's not something that I have to judge by year training, for example, lessons. Yeah, I don't know. I'm eventually not considering myself as an educated musician, although I was studying, because I don't see my creation comes from those sophisticated word, from college or university studies. I just don't think that my music relate to this. My music speak to all people. Yeah, that's it.
And was this also the reason why you then didn't go to New York? I think you had the chance to do your master's in jazz in New York.
That's true.
But you then came to Berlin instead.
That was really, really random, but not random at the same time. As you know, people always ask, why did you come to Berlin? And you're like, I don't really know. And so in this case, I was just right before moving to New York to finish my studies. And all of my friends in the jazz school were sure about it, that was what they wanted to do. And I wasn't sure. And because I also felt I have so much shit to learn on my own, what I like to listen to, what I like to create, because I was just a student, I was just really in the student atmosphere, and I needed to go out of it. And I actually got, not amazing, but I got a scholarship from the college the new school where I was supposed to be, to finish my studies at. And still it was so expensive. And I was saving up back then. I saved up money to just go and study. But it was, of course, not enough for anything. You know, I just decided, okay, I don't want to have this madness without understanding even why I'm doing it. So I would rather take my savings to another city. That was particularly Berlin came to my mind because it seemed like a good opportunity to...
Have you been here before?
No.
No, just...
I was like, okay, let's go somewhere.
Okay.
Adventure.
Yeah.
And yeah, so like I just...
So life experience instead of school experience.
Exactly. And that was something that I knew that I need. Like I need to have. You know, I was always at school and those like jazz school, music school. I had always like things I was doing, project, but I didn't have the time to explore myself and to listen to music from that perspective of, yeah. And eventually just very, very last minute, I decided to move to Berlin. My friends actually also having a great time in New York and doing their thing. I'm happy, but that wasn't exactly my journey.
Just not your thing.
Yeah, that's all.
Okay. And then I read here in Berlin, you discovered the music of Marvin Gaye, Curtis Mayfield, and especially J Dilla. And each year on Dilla's birthday, you release a 5-song mix where you sing about his beats. And I was wondering, what is it that maybe touched or inspired you so much about him that you do this?
Man, this question puts a lot of pressure on me because we are here on January and I'm still working on my upcoming tribute to J Dilla. And since I have a bunch of other projects, it goes slow, but I'll make it through. Honestly, let's start from, we started first from talking about Marvin Gaye and Curtis Mayfield. And like this time, I don't know, I'm feeling super connected to those musicians, to Bill Withers. Those people I hear them singing and I'm feeling it, I just heard it for the first time in my life. Actually, not when I came to Berlin, but the real discovery was when I actually completely dedicated this time listening to their music. And that was actually in Berlin when I had a bit more space and time to explore that. But I knew their music before, but that was the point where I was like, hey, maybe actually I would like to have my own music going in this direction of like soul, changing my sound. I am not more like dun, 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 this jazzy feel that I was always used to have.
Yeah, getting free of the rules.
Yeah,
so
getting free of boundaries and stuff. So Marvin Gaye still, and like Bill Withers and Curtis Mayfield and so many other people to name by this time. Yeah, they are still inspiring me. It was a big, big inspiration. But J Dilla, I literally discovered as soon as I came to Berlin by just sitting here with a friend, and he was like, there is this very famous producer, you probably know him. I was like, his name is J Dilla. And I'm like, no, I never heard the name. And then he was playing it, and I heard it for the first time, and I was like almost crying, saying to myself, how the fact that I live my life without knowing this gold, this treasure. I don't know, back then I was like 21 or something. I was like, I'm 20 years old, 22 years old, and I'm like, I never heard this tune before.
Do you remember the first song you heard from him?
I think, I'm not so sure. I think it was Flowers, if I'm not wrong. It was instrumental. And I was like, wow, this vibe is funky, like from that point, I just couldn't stop listening and jam with J Dilla's music. And I was just like going crazy. If you type on YouTube, for example, J Dilla, you get like those versions of like 14 minutes
beat mixes.
Just beat, the same beat. I was actually digging all those channels, like, like listening to the same beat for like 15 minutes. Or meanwhile trying to just improvise or sing along to the beat, you know, just like expressing myself. And I was like, wow, this is the sound. Back then I was like, this is the sound that I want. This is the sound that I need. And that was so exciting. It's like I found my, I mean, it's like finding your real love. I don't know, like you all of a sudden discover yourself through other people's music. That was the most inspiring part. And the tribute and About Love, which is the name of this tribute dedicated to J Dilla, is something that just came by itself. I was like, I had few beats that I was already kind of jammed on, and my friend told me, like, I like this song, you know, like you should play this song. And I was like, no, I can't sing it. It's not my beat. It's not. So I just decided to have like kind of that dedication of like, of course, it takes a lot of time also to put that together. So this year I had less time. I'm really hoping to, but I have already, like, it's gonna happen, but I'm just in the very middle of the upcoming tribute.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah.
So was J Dilla also your inspiration, or who got you into making beats yourself?
I started making beats a little bit before I even knew Dilla's music, but Dilla was the one that made me understand how I want to sound like, you know, what's the sound that I'm looking for. Because before I was just like fucking around with styles, with genres, I didn't really know what was the sound that I was looking for. I was like, do I want to sound like a songwriter, more like electronic artist, or jazzy? I was a bit confused about the style. I couldn't put myself back then in a certain genre. But once I heard J Dilla, I was like, of course.
Yeah, he has a bit of everything.
Yeah, he has like that really soulful feel, and the swingy. This
tripping groove he has.
Yeah, those and this warmness and all the stuff that I was feeling, I felt related to. So for me, it was like a big door for where I want to go, just listening to his music. Yeah.
Okay. And just a few months ago, you were a guest at the Beats on the Road channel from Don't Let the Label You. So for everyone who might not know it, it's a format where a producer is in the Berlin subway playing beats live while just people everywhere around. And I watched the video, and I also read the comments, and I was a bit confused, because on the one hand there were people who were completely surprised about you just being there, celebrating your music and don't care about the grim people around you. And on the other hand, there were people like completely surprised that a woman is actually able to do dope beats.
Yeah.
And, have you read those comments? And
I read those comments. I didn't really understand because it's all in German. No, I'm kidding. I did understand. But I just decided, you know, there is no reason to. People can say whatever they say. You know, I try to stay on my own path, and if somebody wanna join and to enjoy my music, is welcome. Not everybody have to. So I guess that's the bottom line, why I didn't really react, or didn't really I don't really care if people
like the grim people around you.
So like I have to say that Don't Let the Label You and Your Side, it was super fun to collaborate with them, and I'm really looking forward to have more stuff with them, because I know they have a bunch of ideas and I know we can do really nice stuff together. It happened accidentally, actually. Like, we didn't plan it, but you know, they said like, let's meet up on, was I think March 8th. Let's meet up on March 8th. We do this session and this, and apparently I was like, okay. And apparently that day was the International Women's Day, and it was like I was the first female producer to take part in this project. And everybody were kind of, I was surprised, you know, I'm still surprised at how people are shocked about it, or like, when I go I'm still surprised about it. But of course, unfortunately, this world is still not equal, but we are here to fix that.
Yeah, it's it's really hard to find female producers.
Yeah, I know that.
There's just, if I think about it, just like few people I can think about.
I also don't know many. I have to say that I don't know many. But it's just about time, It's just about time, because now maybe...
I mean, equipment is cheap. Everybody can do
exactly.
music. Everybody should do music.
Everybody,
who wants
exactly.
To.
And create... There are a bunch of like singer-songwriters, for example, that can produce their own music. And they always work with a producer, somebody who take the decisions for them. And I wish for all of the female artists out there to just be like, no, I can do it myself, I'll do my journey. I'll learn what I need to learn. Yeah. I have a bunch of stuff I have to like everybody, but Yeah,
you don't even need a label anymore. You can just put
you can
things
just,
out.
Exactly, you can put stuff out, but it's not so easy in a world where people looking at you all the time and judging you. So I understand also the women out there that are feeling the struggle. I see that because, for example, I had like my first session I went there as a female, I was the only female producer in the room, and we were like creating a beat, and people were looking at me in the room like, oh my God.
Doing?
Exactly. What's she doing? Or like really curiosity and stuff. And I'm like, eventually, I'm like, guys, let me show you, like, I don't know. I found it also extremely hard at that day, where everybody were like, are you? Oh,
like feeling exposed.
Yeah, feeling
probably,
really exposed. Yeah, like a lot of attention, a lot of attention in those situations, and I didn't need this attention.
Yeah,
I just
want to do music.
Yeah.
Okay. Now I want to talk about your name a bit.
Yeah.
The first part of your name is J Lamotta, and it's influenced by the boxer Jake Lamotta.
That's so true.
There's also a film about him by Martin Scorsese, The Raging Bull. Can you tell me what is it that you wanted to name yourself about him?
So, okay, let's talk about the movie first. Martin.
So it's actually the movie, not the boxer himself?
Actually, it was about the movie,
okay.
about the character.
Yeah.
The whole thing about this movie made me feel really, powerful.
Yeah.
Something about this piece of art, which I never could explain it in words, but it touched me. And that was the part where I was like, okay, I'm gonna just call myself by the name of this boxer, also because I wanted to have this character of this boxer, like a little bit like of a badass kind of, you don't tell me if I'm able to be a producer or not because I'm a woman or not because I'm, you know what I'm saying? I would just wanted to have his energy, and I felt that it can help me with my growth. But the main thing was just like a real dedication for Martin Scorsese and Robert De Niro for The Raging Bull. It's a masterpiece. And the reason why I call myself J Lamotta was because I want people to go and check this movie. I mean, I'm a big fan of Scorsese, but particularly this one was the impact was really massive on me. So I was like, okay, let's be that boxer and hit with the beats and love and just find another way of express. I found that connection, That's all.
Okay, cool. I think it's also the actually first movie with Joe Pesci.
True, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure, but I read that Martin Scorsese met him somewhere where he's actually going crazy, like he's going crazy in the movie. Like, I want him in my movie.
That's so cool.
Okay, and the second part of your name is it's written in Japanese letters and pronounced Suzume. And as far as I could find out, Suzume is the word for sparrow. And I was wondering, because you also have a band named the Dizzy Sparrows.
Yeah.
Your album will be called Suzume. And what is it with the sparrows?
So like J.Lamotta was the first name that I chose myself when I started producing. Suzume came later on. Suzume is many things in my life, and that's why you see it coming back. But Suzume is a symbol for me, which I feel connected to. Actually, I want to say my new album called Suzume, that's going to come out very, very soon. And in this album, I wrote short story, like 7,000 words, and sharing my thoughts and telling the story why I call myself Suzume.
Okay, so we have to wait for the album.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I would say let's wait for the album, and because whoever gonna support and get the LP will get as well the story inside, and it will be easier to share after you read the story.
All right.
I don't want to spoil.
Okay, all right. Yeah. Did you open up about it a bit more? Because I heard another radio interview, I think, where you was also asked this question, and there he was like, I might not tell it.
So yeah. So when I was in Japan, like people ask me every single day, so many times, like, Suzume, why do you call yourself Suzume? And I couldn't give them a quick answer. So I felt like, okay, this is a story I need to share with them. So I can what I can say is that Suzume is a symbol for me for freedom. Like I was in a time where I was looking for this freedom, and something very powerful happened to me that changed my way of thinking and living. Yeah, it was very spiritual too, you know. It was very intense experience. I really hope people will feel it when they will read it.
Okay, let's not spoil the stuff.
Yeah,
the rest.
Let's not spoil that, dude.
Okay, and while you already mentioned it, when reading your interviews and stuff, I realized there must be some kind of connection to Japan for you. Like your name has this Japanese letters. On your new album, there will actually be a Japanese bonus track.
Yeah.
Can you maybe tell a bit about it? What is it with Japan?
What is it with Japan? I ask myself the same question. What is it with Japan that was so charming, that is so charming and appealing to me? I have to say that ever since I'm young, my auntie, she's like the biggest fan of Japanese culture. And so ever since I'm young, my cousins, my auntie, people in my family telling me how amazing is Japan and how the culture is special. But more than that, when I came to Berlin, I got to know many Japanese people, and I felt like connected. And again, when I was in Japan, I felt like, whoa, we have so much shit to learn from these people. The way they treat each other in the street. I don't know, I'm a foreigner. Maybe some people from Japan have other things to say about Japanese culture. But for me, there were like so many beautiful things about this culture. Their approach to each other, you know, like to their surroundings, they are super respectful, you know, like. But more than that, it was like you ask somebody like, why do you love your partner so much? And I don't know, I just I just do. I just love it, you know. So I'm just, honestly, I have just like this curiosity about the culture, because also when I was there, the feedback that I got from the audience was the biggest. You know, like I felt that people are like digging my music more than any other place in the world. You know, no other place people were like so showing me so much love. And wherever I travel, I'm looking for this two-way communication. Like I want to feel the audience. I do it I go play music live because I want to meet people. I want to, you know, I want to be surrounded by people and to share the music. Sometimes it happened to me in Germany, in Italy, in Austria, or whatever, that, you know, like people are too cool to to show their love. So I was like, okay, this is how they play here. And where I'm from, for example, or in Japan or whatever, like I got this more like warm excitement and people not afraid of showing their love, which is like, it's a blast, you know. If I see artists that I really love, I'm like, dude, I really love you. So, you know, it's grace.
Yeah. It must be something with Japan. I always see it like a lot of artists always have like special Japanese pressing, Japanese bonus tracks. There must be something about it.
There must be something. I still don't know why.
If you talk about the Japanese culture, you mean this? I always see there like two different things, like this crazy Tokyo, busy streets Japan, and then this more rural and traditional Japan. Is it both, or?
I honestly don't know enough to really, but I understand what you say. I was in Tokyo and I had this feeling as you described, and I was also in Hakata, which is like south, and the people in the south, as much as I understood from the locals, they say that they are a lot nicer than the people in Tokyo.
Okay.
Like that was that's what the vibe that like. So we got really, really warm, so much love from the people in Hakata, but the same thing I had in Tokyo. I couldn't really tell, like, because people were just like supporting from both sides, you know. But for sure, it's always like that. Big cities are a little bit more rough.
Always a bit more stressful.
It's always exactly.
Everybody's busy.
Exactly, yeah.
Okay. And like I already mentioned it, your band, the Dizzy Sparrows, were founded in 2016, I think.
That's true.
And what role did the band play in the production of your new album? And most importantly, how did they inspire you, like, musically for this album?
This band is like a real blast. These people, this journey, playing with them, I have to say that I have in my group a very core, which is we are 4 people. I have Doron Segal, he's the keyboard player from Jerusalem. Martin Bull, he's the bass player from Denmark. And Rafat Muhammad, he's the drummer from Egypt. And all of them I met here in Berlin. And they are just like inspiring, super.
Are they all living here in Berlin?
Yeah, they're all based in, but it's it's very Berlin one. Yeah, it's a very, and you know, those musicians are like the sickest musician I know, you know, so I couldn't ask for a better scenario. It's like they are just the best musician for me to. That's quite inspiring, and I really appreciate their dedication, you know, like they know I'm trying to build up something with them, and they give me back their time, their energy, I get back from them, so it's inspiring.
So maybe the things you missed at the jazz studies.
What's that?
So the things you were looking for during your studies you missed.
Exactly.
That's maybe just what they're giving you.
Exactly. That's it. I really hope that whoever listens to us now will come and check out this band one of these concerts that we have soon, because we're going to play this year quite a lot, and I really dig the sound. Yeah. Okay.
And I read that they really inspired your approach to this new album. Can you maybe tell a bit about it? What was it I mean, you won't have a completely new sound.
So the new album is like, I was looking for like an organic sound, and for me, like hearing real drum kits, like it's so exciting, you know, like real bass player, people playing the music, not only me playing all the instrument. It's so exciting. So I was like, after Conscious 3, which have been released last year, I was like, okay, I want to have another challenge, and I want to do a live project and to involve those people. That's pretty much what happened.
Okay. So yeah, playing as a band together and not just step by step.
Exactly. And when I saw that our sound is getting a real sound together, so I was like, okay, now is the time to work on new material, go with them to the studio and try to put it down.
And when did you start recording the new songs?
Start recording actually even before Conscious 3.
Oh, okay.
It's been a while.
Okay, so it's more than a year of...
It's more than a year. Yeah. It's actually September 2017. Okay. Like it's, or maybe a little bit afterward, November 2017. That was the first session we've done for this album.
Okay, and a few more like traditional questions about the album. Is there already a release date and
yes,
where you can get the album, all the stuff for the people, how to get it?
Listen up. Like, this album is super meaningful for me. I feel like I really want to share this with you. I don't want to say exact date because we are still sorting that out, but it's very soon. I'm talking about like 2 months. It's going to come out with a great label, Jakarta Records, which I'm a big fan of them.
Yeah, released before with them.
Yeah, I released before with Jakarta, that Conscious Tree, and now I have a new one with them. Thanks God I have them because they are super patient with me, and yeah, they're a great label. Now that you mention it, with your fan being of J Dilla, his brother is actually also releasing on Jakarta. That's true. Ila is also in Jakarta.
Is there maybe a connection that you maybe?
It happened by itself.
Yeah.
You know,
So
was anything planned? I love what they do. I was their fan even before Ila was releasing the music there. And yeah, you know, like, it's just all, you know, energy. We are all connected. And I think that Jakarta doing a great thing by choosing artists that somehow have a lot in common, you know. So all of the artists over there, I don't know, like Flo Fields or Juju Rogers or Ivan Ave or Ila J, you know, there are so many artists. Il Camille, you know, but all of them, Saf Daddy, you know, they all have something in common.
Yeah.
And something, the sound, their sound is like they're sharing this particular style. And I was like hoping I can be part of this as well. And I'm happy it's working out. Yeah.
Okay. Is there anything else you want to talk about for the album, or should we wait for it and not spoil it too much?
Yeah, I'm like, okay, let's just like wait. I'm still in the very middle of processing and getting it as good as I can. I have a good feeling about this album, honestly, because there were so many people participating in this project. We had horn section, strings, we had percussion, 2 drummers, a bunch of musicians, sound engineers, 4 studios, 24 people took part of this project. And I'm not even talking about like Jakarta, that, you know, I'm talking about
the management stuff and label.
Just the people who actually took part in making it happen. And I feel that all of this dedication and all of those people who actually made it happen, like, and very soon I'll be able to share it, and it means a lot to me. I hope you will enjoy it, you know, that's all.
We'll see, but have a good feeling.
Thanks.
And it's always like my last question. What is the most beautiful thing about music for you?
The most beautiful thing about
listening or making music?
I look at like making music for myself. I'm trying to sing for myself, to make music for myself, to heal myself when I don't feel good, you know, when I feel that I need this treatment. Music is the healing force of the universe. This is it. You choose the energy how you want to accept and how you want to consume the music. So for me, I consume music to heal my soul. And of course, sharing it with the people, being vulnerable, being just myself, transparent with my feelings. It's super powerful. At the moment where you're doing it or when you're there, you're feeling so vulnerable. But afterwards, when you have a time and perspective, you look at this, it's empowering, you know. Like, and the same thing about listening, of course.
Okay, cool.
Thank you.
And before we end it, is there anything left to say? Anything you want to share or say? The last words are yours.
The last words are mine.
Only if you want to.
I don't know. I want to give thanks and wish everybody a wonderful year. 2019 is a great time to get ourselves together and do our dreams and what we feel. Like, stop looking around and just doing stuff that we want to do. And I wish all of us just being on that path and have an amazing year, 2019. Let's rock it.
Okay, cool.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, sure. Thank you for being here. Thank you for your time. And yeah, that's it, I think. Thank you.
Dankeschön.
This was episode 17 of the All I See is Blinking Lights podcast with J.Lamotta Suzume. Thanks again to J.Lamotta for her time and the great interview. The interview was recorded in January, and in the meantime, there were already news regarding the release of the album. The album Suzume will be released on the 12th of April 2019. The first single will be released on the 15th of February, and the pre-order of the album will start on the same day. So if you don't want to miss anything, best follow J.Lamotta on her social media channels. You can find all the links in the link list of this podcast episode. There you can also find all the links to the music we talked about and all the links regarding the podcast. And of course, if you like the interview or the podcast at all, which is usually in German, I'm always happy if you share it, leave a comment, leave an iTunes review, whatever you like. And you can do this on Instagram.com/alliseesblinkenlights, on Twitter under the handle @blinken_lights, or at Facebook.com/alliseesblinkenlights. And like I mentioned, you can also find all the links in the link list to the episode. That's it. I wish you a great day, great night, good morning, whatever time you're having. So long, and thanks for listening.
Blinking, blinking. All I see is blinking lights. It's a hip hop.